no tough games transfers issues me di bi beba kwaku di bi beba na big susu di bi aba ken ahomachin yesiri pe yehwe Chelsea ene Palmeiras game na Chelsea win 2-1 our ma qualify at the FIFA Club World Cup semi-final. If you were one teamer, many a job FIFA Club World Cup na Chelsea eka huye. Tournament na Chelsea coin one onya results. Every football club be a tournament be na o expect so obeko wanim. And so bitima ko wanim a results na obenya no ana do obeko wanim. Enti se ne Ocha Chelsea fans na nima omo nyina nima ye serious because mi team no progress with FIFA Club World Cup. So tournament so no Chelsea win okonadi. De to so mienu. Every single game be a Chelsea abobia no. Omo ye tactical experiment. Tactical experiment say star na omo person omo bon every single game. Coach necessary nsa no. Or try new mafofro say a bit mafa for the new season. And so tactical experiment at Chelsea here FIFA Club World Cup no many. And Ken, the toss of yensa, almost say Niska, the free tournament we mo. What him say so far? FIFA Club World Cup na Chelsea ho no, ma generated £61 million. And to you say a grow. Tournament na Chelsea bon. Semi-final na Chelsea edru no. Wa generated £61 million and Niska ketwa. So okaso o invest e de akwa akoto a top player obetimi pokra de akwa akoye. So Chelsea wo FIFA Club World Cup no onya results, tactical experiments and also nya iska which are very good for Chelsea Football Club. Obi beka say Chelsea eyi Palmeiras a free tournament we ma and share that any big news. Meti ase say o compare obia resources, o compare obia individual qualities Chelsea e was ro say Palmeiras oyi ni free tournament we ma enya dia enwoma bebre. But let's not forget this same Palmeiras and no top in the group or they do this stage. This same team now about tournament ni na wetimi consider just 2 goals for the group stage edeba. Enti enfa won se Chelsea yebo boku a owo so se Palmeiras boku no. Se wo check Palmeiras so modern boss so far na omon fe badly at all. So Chelsea yi o mafrim no. Ade a Chelsea ayade. Ken for match day 1 every single Chelsea game you mabo bia no be catch so mo tactical experiments. Ahomachi ebia say sibie se me kwotena TV ho anasa me hwe live match eya na me pese misua ade foforo eka de minim no dada enti se me kwo Chelsea game na me hu different approach different system ne tactics e ma me say sua de feda onim say against Palmeiras Enzo Maresca decided so be use a new and a different approach this time around or use a 316 diamond base shape 316 diamond base shape ahomachi Chelsea use ye no se omu kra ball na Saloba Levi Kowo and Kukureya and the Ginechiro. I will say this time around the last game omu boy before Palmeiras game no or the Kopama take on the left wing by ahomachi or the Kopama eba more central ebe ball the favorite position enti ade a me hu ni ye say o ma Kopama and Brandt fence Enzo Fernandez time bia no omunya that connecting passes no e yo mu mienu and omu connecting passes no and the man me gi Chelsea play no kra na say o yusu ne striker Dilap as a bounce board time bia no betimenya sa entry passes no enti Dilap no o yusu na as a bounce board bounce board yes bounce board ni say fa ne say odi ade si ho na odi bibi bounce so odi ball so na asaba enti Dilap no re striker no Chelsea benya entry passes biana eye wo se Dilap mum ana time de omu use no as the entry enti ono ana beye offensive pivot a obe ore other opponent ni defenders no na Kopama ana Enzo Fernandez a connect passes no enti use Dilap as a bounce board for the final entry
maybe Kopama gina no that's just in position penny ana omu
attack biana ekoye 3 back the last match omu boy no Oma Kopama ana Kukureya operate on the left side. By this time around, or the Kopama eba mfimfin, and Oma Kukureya omo attack ya okoka Levi Kowo ana Chaloba ho. Enti omo attack biana ekoye the 316 a base shape ana Chelsea use ye. Another new tactical experiment from Papa friend Enzo Maresca and King baby at Chelsea nenam no. Chelsea co final enya me wanwa e was that tournament to be honest with you omo get results omo pay a tactical experiment na ekoyi and omo get cash from it individually obi to say enra ahomachi Andre Santos say ne performance manage no ho o win a lot of 50-50 battles no on say Kaisero ntimi operate as a deep line and as a defensive midfielder o yusu Andre Santos and obi operate was aro o win a lot of battles no and the menisa J Andre Santos on kran here say ne third man combination na ekoyi Levi ko wo wechi ho no enra anasa ahomachi ne ball winning ability anyhow we read the game no na e was so e de mame second half no the na game no e disorganized kakra but you know Chelsea e ade Ken William Estevao ye wo fidadem bebeka ne ho asem na nkofo nim se e hype e me de ene Chelsea for na nkasa ahwe no me nka ne ho asem bebre new season or journey Chelsea bobuko no so you know me hu ne se be a Chelsea ne nam no on beko final e wo this competition FIFA Club World Cup yes I will PSG and a Bayern ene another 12 game these are two clubs are uko Europa omo performance ne e wo soro bebre by currently say oh yeah fair the best club e wo Europe enye world best club e wo Europe e PSG bobuku no it is a team bi e kwa akohia PSG bobuku na onim say PSG team no e wo soro ba dia ba kwa mehu ni yese say what check FIFA Club World Cup we are Bayern for so a performance e wo soro enti in as much as PSG e top club omo nim ball ne ball omo control game no omo ball na efe omo ti omo ho ase understanding wo soro no omo kwa akohia Bayern team a omo attack a ehu sa game we no ken if both team to score you most likely omo net me attack very well PSG be she go Bayern be she go by the obe winning no and e too tight over 1.5 2.5 both team to score Miami team Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund ebesi akan enra anopa no obe yes sorry be my manager say Florentino Perez say Real Madrid 4 players no entreaty FIFA World Cup ne to say UEFA Champions League Dortmund any team abeka say F4 though say anytime be a Real Madrid Borussia Dortmund bia no Real Madrid will upper hand by say team e progress here be do this level untimi underrate omo and so make win e dey ama Real Madrid bobuku no now you ransom nim na minim say nkofo e twen Nico Williams in sense no Ken every single story about Nico Williams we read you internet ya beka wo fi ha say no enye intro every single story about him joining Barcelona e no create true do adia ba kwa minim e say respect e very important e wo wiase Ken me no na ye adwuma maybe say adechina me mpese me ba adwuma e wo se me bo amane na me ka cho say boss we dey wadaroma nyam wo akina me koye ade o baby me mba because una oye me panyi a wo da mano a me dey respect e ma wo me ntimi mfa me pe enka se me mba so respect is very important and nipa wo pese ukọ wanim pa obi a oben bia se oya akra oya panyi e wo sa wo dey respect any ni die e de masa nipa and it is a oye footballer na show respect e hadwen it me affect you your footballers be bria o men room pempen so also mu do because of common respect me respect Nico Williams a decision me metina video we echi me metina ba bia ankoka say ade na Nico Williams ye no anya ade e ne personal decision on enim de obeye ebeboa no on enim de ekoso awo na busuem anono ankasa enti so say onko Barcelona me ntimi meka say enye right my respecting the decision na emum Nico Williams and for respect ama Barcelona to be honest onim say ade na ekoso ni nyina no enye Barcelona mpokra wo even Bilbao for mpanyim for say omiyem hwiomo at the time and Nico Williams and Felix Tenta ebe ka chom so be renew contract na Bilbao for crane susu da say Nico Williams ba be renew contract omo say take omo by surprise according to Bilbao for nankasa wo omo say na omo the pressure ma Nico Williams na ebusuan for say omo be renew adia na Bilbao for na peni nyina na ye say obe renew and omo increase ni release clause omo pesta kese from Nico Williams et say the other day na kwaku chechim say kepamo any other guys ni na ekono mo muska kese by yet Bilbao oboku ni nyina no nim say player obetima mo muska kese pa no e Nico Williams 58 million euros and a release clause no nim say so enti no mkra de omo expect say obe renew a no ma increase eye ade e kan say release clause no ma ton enti omo ti say Nico Williams and Felix Tenta from some be renew no e shock omo including the 10 years omo nsusu da say Nico Williams eba be accept sa deal no Barcelona target for wingers left wing no na Nico Williams enka home from the onset Barcelona tini baby na Barcelona target Luis Diaz Rafael Leao ana Barcelona ti omo baby omo mbo Nico Williams din ana Nico Williams oni abrante friend say Lamine Yamal kasa say afi we die wo di bibi etu achi o pese o join Barcelona at the time omo shase from Euros ne sa ana Lamine Yamal ka che o say se wo betima join Barcelona boboko na de di kan si ye no affect Barcelona mpanyimfo ahye omo so the first person that was offering no head coach Hansi Flick ana Nico Williams offer Hansi Flick ana opa na chow ana I say this time around person o join ana papa friend say Hansi Flick accept ye ana offer de ku catch ne say Nico afrene na kasa enti opese oba join Barcelona boboko na deku na enye ni favorite ana na ye Nico Williams o di enti na Barcelona board ne ba say ebi mu 5% omo so omo nti ase na deku na nkasa na komem na de opese o de ne ba no Luis Diaz from Liverpool Bernard Nico Williams call na ye no a opa acho no ana ma deku adwen sesai
Nico de fa Lamine Yamal so ana Lamine Yamal ema Nico ball Hansi Flick
amane ana Hansi Flick ne deku kasai
Hansi Flick is ko de ko amane
good ana mo convince me ye bibia eno na ma Felix Tenta ekohia deku na ebeto abonten so mo ti hotel ho no yes our four cousins hotel ho no an centroni ba ko ana konya asa picture no ana mu nyina ate ase ana deku ko convince Barcelona mpanyimfo enti Barcelona de na onka asa okosan Nico Williams wo Nico Williams na ato na aso pe Barcelona ena ma Nico Williams ebe na adwen say ne salary na nka first one mo ka asa mo de man no 12 million euros a gross no obe maintain the same thing even pokra why ready say obe reduce ne salary enti na Nico Williams de why willing so obe join Barcelona ana Barcelona fo nyina ate ase mpanyimfo nyina ate ase say o de ebe work on that deal Bilbao fo mpanyimfo anti omo ho ase omo de pressure to webusuafo so onuoma ekoso nyina nuoma omo di watem Abrante e fane say Iñaki Williams ni senior brother onu ankasa ehira ni junior brother Nico Williams say ope Barcelona ko enfa ho ne threats enfa ho ne ateti anom na busuafo fam no omo nyina ka say Barcelona opa join even Iñaki Williams ka say ebani move from Spain say opetin kesi aba teams akesi e wo Spain no onko ba ko na ye Barcelona enti ebusuafo no de na omode ye omo obeba ho nyina na omo mfa hu no me decide so me join Barcelona problem ni nyina na ye say at the time Bilbao for ne chance say omo ko La Liga mpanyimfo e me ye be discuss ade ne say omo pese omo control Barcelona omo operations economic operations and ma La Liga mpanyimfo be ka say ade na who different club na be control another club economic operation no omo La Liga mpanyimfo omo nim de omo ya na and ma Javier Tebas ba bonten say up to date Barcelona entimi register Nico Williams omo sign na enti problem ni nyanya se Barcelona ni come dey coach release close no omo say scan by na dia kan ye say omo betima register na because na was Barcelona omo financial fair play speaks na was omo release 23 million euros and say no betima really register Nico Williams so Felix Tenta after so I call Bayern I call Germany or Sabishia Barcelona for no and obubu Sadeku say mo betima register makra na and say ane and say no kra dia Bilbao krom ho no omo ma akra na busuafo pressure enti se mo san akra na ma intimi register na eyenim gwase kese enti yenko written document say anasa written guarantee say se mo kotua release clause na betimi assign no se amotima register se ma intimi register na ye betima terminate contract no neskanashi so in community tin ni tietie nyina na ye say omo operating guarantee enye bibia
I don't know about sentiment because no omuni side GD so betime
because Barca say ye financial reports say ye financial analysis baby Barca gina say ontimi guarantee we say so betima register because Barca for him pepe say e was so much free 23 million euros so metima yes ade na just so much ton players and on ton players and to Barca ntimi guarantee rating documents on metima promise o verbally on metima use o manu dia catch say ye betimi a register by rating documents ni say acquire rating documents not specific date also be register when ntimi a register sa contract no e invalid obetima terminate na Barca si kokotua na hye so financially it make sense say Barca be rating guarantee.
I didn't I hate Barca for no pan.
Dear I hate your money say. Omo baby. And I'll say changing up a sober. And no me jai your mu ye nyina. And you focus about so. Sa o se umbo bi mu pokran ka bo mama ne. Enti Barcelona dia show money say on far respect and fama Barcelona. And Kalis obetimi afre Barcelona mpanyimfo say baby edu no. Mentimi and guarantee me say betima register into them ko renew my contract efe ba wan ka hwe Barcelona for beti an say be oba for announce sa wan fo bu ama Barcelona bo ko Barcelona
je am want to say report of Barcelona ever say even Lamine Yamal no anya
we obi anya we
o so ti news no so ebe de na Nico am Lamine Yamal
minima de kuntia bi maybe say osuru o so
for so ba no o pa ba no o de fa Lamine so and Lamine man afraid are you coaching and a coaching ko ye operations with the community for no enti better na wo free club na say o decide say o ma no Lamine yawe
minima de kuntia ono nkwa nanim that's the reason why I make us one respect am Barcelona for because me pese me ba baby me nyamba wan be wo enti ken me de Nico Williams or say o renew the contract no we renew to 2035 na the release clause can 58 million euros. Say a 100 million euros plus 160 million euros and the release clause. Say team ya betima activate here 2026. Me patronize here be enye 2026. I didn't na be oba of say wow person betima abeton no 2026 here. E chese na be oba of one mpokra na yiska kese na omope. Omobeton ba no mo peska kese. Enti no mo the release clause e be active na 2026.
Do you Barca fan now? Bet me call this boy as a betrayer.
Oh yeah, we'll betray Barcelona.
He betray.
Yes, because
when to guarantee me so bet me register me to me betray no. You go to me yes I didn't cover.
At the frontier, we betray Barcelona near say. Those say Barca to me are man rating guarantee, not a verbal guarantee. But we betray Barcelona for in a sense say, on my Barca for jai your money to work on this guy. Kim Busa won say the international Barcelona for try so bit maton Femi Lopez. What do you say Femi Lopez or a small player? Barca for do Femi Lopez. But now Barca for try so bit me a big sale because of Nico Williams. And it is a ose on bar obi entimi mbo by bo o mama ne keke. That's the reason I make her respect. So maybe to me I was here respecting Nico Williams decision. By in as much as here respecting the decision, maybe to me personally obi a wan adwenche one for respect and from Barcelona bobuku. Ken, Liverpool for Ayadi Ameniaje. Big and massive respect for Liverpool Football Club. Liverpool for supporters ene mituche ebo minsem de ma Liverpool team no. Onim say Jota or the 9th highest paid player e wo Liverpool bobuku ni. Liverpool players o mo ni nyina no o kan mo diska kese a na Jota eto so 9th. Oje 140,000 pounds a week. So 140,000 no. Every year biani is 7.28 million pounds. The contract ebewu June 30th, 2027. From a net enkosi sa time and the contract bewu no. Liverpool salary also mutuama Jota nyina 21.8 million pounds. Liverpool for say those are branch any hobby. But mu tue scan nyina no e de ama Jota ene na busuafo. Already, let's not forget, Liverpool for retiring in jersey number 20. And Kobe Krabeka say enough. But apart from the jersey number 20 now Liverpool for retiring, almost in the second and or say Chia Eddie Ama Brand Defense Jota and Nebusian for massive respect for Liverpool team no. A Brand Defense Casado, okay, no him say Atletico Madrid for Abel Rims or more Brand here. Atletico Madrid for Abel Rims say Barcelona midfielder Marc Casado or more Peno. Nyame Aduma me boboso me the latest no need details beba Juventus any Bisbisuma en komo e koso Madueke any Arsenal de no Arsenal for official bed en koi But me hwehwɛ mu kyerɛ sɛ Arsenal for person omo di 40 million pounds ɛkɔ. Chelsea pay 50. Arsenal for person omo di 40 ɛkɔ. Enzo Maresca coach e dey Chelsea. Kenu nim say or say wa follow Kudus from time I know why yes. Enzo Maresca or see we di Kudus echi time I know why yes ebesi ne. Kudus a top player or we have quality. Benam say Kudus enye omu player on ntimi nka asem bia mfa ne ho. Say Kudus ba Chelsea and I say on ba Chelsea. By Enzo Maresca say wa follow Kudus for my yes ebesi ne. Fali Ramadan super agent. AC Milan for akache Fali Ramadan say omu monitor abrante friend say Darwin-Nunez situation no. Mini uye no Manchester United pay 160 million pounds from these 5 players and be 5 players we Manchester so omu pay 160 million pounds. Garnacho 60 to 70 million pounds. Rashford 40 million pounds. Anthony 30 million pounds. Sancho 25 million pounds. Malacia 5 million pounds. It is our 5 players we know. Manchester for say omu pay 160 million pounds.
Well, so how we now na others say about the center, but maybe it's just a simple question now. One fan in center. Others boko game.
I don't care.
Manchester United for free Marcus Rashford agent. Edia to the name Sakra no on competing. Or mama holidays and vacation extended one. Manema back to Carrington. Na what me asia catch agent and say the number 10 is in my day. Maji. Asia bonipa na modern man in the day.
Actually, no.
Say the mama tias kunya. But are you fair? Why you more treaty boy fair? As because Accra mo ara machete. Enti bebo at the time I'm more jijis in the crown. So bet catch agent and say ebi an jisi number crown and say anything. But almost sample player and the and say the Jesse number the mama Matias Kunya.
I respect so much catching and yes, I'll bet to social media. So I mean, and
yes, will be there.
Exactly.
And that's how 5 players that are coming to with him by. Oma catch will be Oma extended Garnacho Mone Malacia. Oma extended Omunina Anthony. Also, Oma extended Yamano Sancho. Oma extended. We move our show. We use almost.
You see, the only problem.
Emma Carrington competing.
You see, my only problem is as far as these guys, they still remain Manchester United property. Now, when you banish them from training with the team, what devalue or modada?
The prices are coming.
Exactly, and this is why I think Manchester United don't. Omunim say ni esi ton ade o. Asema de bia ya make no. Clubs and Arsenal and Man U, they don't know how to sell. These are talented guys, but just that obu oha onye consistent. Obu oha adibu nti na oko. So it is not as if say me omu nyina asa wo. Omu nsa asa, which you can negotiate and get money. No problem. If you don't want them, let them be part of the team. Say what big clubs normally done is mama some show. Omo nyina call pre-season na mama camera guys need a picture together with the group. Na ababon thing to say ye nyina na ye training. Omo we after about 15-20 minutes na coach na separate to omo we training with those he needs. Inside no one banish you, but outside you are telling a story that they are still part of the team. They are important to the team, so that when you are selling, you sell them right. That is how you do it. What did I tell you? Say? Because it is very important that you paint the right picture to the seller, to the buyer. Say, "Madi no, somebody mami, and a maton." Then you can negotiate well. Name so quiet this idea cramming pa. Why never turn about a one. And I feel it is a decision that we are choosing Ruben Amorim over these boys. I don't have a problem if you're a coach.
Amorim no win our from Simon. What many so no win our Simmons Anthony Rashford na Sancho.
Na Malacia you know Janoko. And it's virtually all of these guys.
So now Omache Rashford Jesse number na say we now should lose so Jesse numbers.
Possibly. She says so when new player be a new player and request a number of any of them, and they'll give it to them. Very unfortunate. You see, the last time United made another huge mistake, Omuchusu Ten Hag over Ronaldo. Later on, they regretted. It is good to support your coach, but coaches be why I'm a catcher say Omunyendrum Pempen so be on meeting your picky and choose you. Sometimes coach no Nyendru's our level now. You help him anyway. Kineben. I will do no fin Maminchan Yepa. Na Nico Williams' conversation, me person me fan from a different angle. Na Ken, first of all, first scenario, maybe create 3 scenarios at the amount. Na the first context the woman say Javi Hernandez, Barcelona former coach. And that one team league, you know, last season, no, Real Madrid scored more goals than Barcelona. Madrid conceded less goals than Barcelona. I say goals in common area. Safi no, Barcelona says 79 goals. Real Madrid say 87. Safi no, na Barcelona who have finya so fast. Inti we Lamine Yamal body dia one of the young guys who was gaining grounds was Femi Lopez, if you do remember. It is our period, you know. Now Barcelona were in a desperate period. Listen to my conversation very well, because we need to add context to this conversation. Time Hansi Flick able taking over Barcelona, no. Now Barcelona were too desperate because na anymore no Lewandowski afa anymore, Lamine Yamal afa anymore, but na kabako Femi Lopez kakra hafinya no obobe system minutes na coach na yine film. It got to some point in time no mo bought Gavi on the left wing. Okaya eto de bia na Xavi Hernandez timi bo Pedri on the left wing, so they needed a natural left winger or yeah right or betinya bobo no. It is a sad time na Barcelona no me too desperate or cast up Nico Williams. It makes a lot of sense. So the context around the first snap, the first decision said Nico so on Mombasa no understandable, because sad time no Barcelona were desperate. New coach aba, let's help him build the team, because that time na hafinya obi anyone no won mujedi. It's the first snap no me. I don't blame Barcelona. Nyamiadum boy na ma hafinya na obieni ni mujidie no. He's had one of the best performances the entire career to the extent that Ejum Pempenso bi yesi Rafinha for Ballon d'Or meboa. This is a season Barcelona usher more goals, usher 174 goals, unlike the previous season. So previous season they were struggling for goals. The team needed a left winger. Now Rafinha comes on board under Hansi Flick. Team now 174 goals. It makes a lot of sense. Bibi Akoye, Robert Lewandowski 42 goals. Rafinha 34 goals. It's the second scenario they say Barcelona get desperate, unlike the first one. People told me come on a mini woody nasi. So Barcelona get desperate, dear. Next the team no already set up no hodada. And it's okay, we want to go to the different level. And I say a different level. So let's bring on board Nico. Near Rafinha Mbeshe 10. Say Rafinha on the left wing one, and yes, the team now say yo. And the decision that okay, let's give it a try. Barcelona are not desperate. The team is already there. It's sad time, no. This is why I want to blame Barcelona kakra. Ken, see my own desperate there. And yes, all my club will be an answer agents be an answer player be better than sir. Say a first scenario no and Barcelona. And you too desperate all chasing for Nico Williams. I clearly understand. But this year, I feel transfer window way there. In case I was said Nico, mom they chasing Barcelona more. Barcelona fell for Nico or Bates, no. And I am because the last time I see my catcher on say, me say Felix Tenta Kwakusha Deco. One agent to pay me who in. As a man, I make catcher her. The catcher say, I see me to trim a soccer crack. Because the meeting on Costa Hotel, only one century in the go. Hey, Master, that's how much she sent a dummy. Till before the first meeting, na Felix Tainter, boy, the agents, I could share buying winching twice. Came aboa. No, we share buying winching twice. The only difference are not a womb, a wages. So, time, no, 2 meetings, no. If Bayern Munich were willing to pay these guys wages, in Kohoye. What is it? Then you meet Barcelona and tell Barcelona, say, boy, you're willing to play for Barcelona. Now, Kumemu, they say, oh, are you ready to play for Barcelona? And I'm catching say, a lie, or chantro. Because our Kumem pass up and saw about the Barcelona. Then what was the meeting with Bayern Munich for? What did I tell you? Say, so Kumemu season way, who press out about the Barcelona. And you question Bayern Munich here, then. What do you go on? I mean, you say? Because all this guy want to do is for him to play for Barcelona. Then no problem. Don't go and meet other clubs. Don't go and have another discussion with any other club. Go to Barcelona straight. But you had met Bayern Munich twice. And I'm saying, I should try my soccer crack. Now Barcelona ain't careful kakra. And I remember, my boss near the Ababe drew this level. Say, okay, we share Barcelona twice. And now, we are willing to play. I have told you, say, you see, Barcelona's problem with registration. And clear, it is not as if, say, Nico, I can't say, Bonwana registration issue by me. What? Even last year, we had this conversation, say, Nico, or sign here. A better chance on my register. It's the issue of registration and a boy in the channel. Actually, my so kakra. Because before you met Barcelona, you already knew, say, Barcelona play be Fabiano registration. A better style be kakra. Especially say, Waketana wo jene was ra. Unlike Juan Garcia now on the Obegis Cafe. It's the issue about registration in an American one day. That's a children again so kakra. Because at the way about 2 years in OBA, Danny Omo before he signed, he knew it. Yet he signed. Asami dekwama boy ne play. Wama boy ne any nature. Very unfortunate. Say Barcelona big club like Barcelona. And Pempen saw Barcelona drew this season. And was like a boy in a push it, especially when Barcelona say Barcelona train a pound one and sound so money cheap your big club. You seem to show fire. Oh Jesus Christ. Asemi come home. Transfer there is so who say yeah and maybe Matteo Alemani. If I just go there for half in if Chelsea for him no me transfer said you play everyone want to be smart. Everyone want to be smart. Me feel say the best thing Barcelona needs to do. And they say next year I was Barcelona tisik I guess I call for Lewandowski replacement too. And I am again also. And see the proper investment should be the future number 9 for Barcelona. Safi, some person go for winger be back, at least just to deputize her. No problem. You go in for a loan, be no about the same short term. Because the bigger investment should be why never replace Robert Lewandowski next season. Because Ferran Torres won't mean for an internal. So because me say as some more yeah to say Ferran Torres, we are molding him as a number 9. He cannot do it. So say market him. So open proper number 9 at all. You are looking at something around 90, 95, 100. Inti, I was a Barcelona Bob was because Julian Alvarez, Atletico Madrid for fan if Manchester City, who I think is a better player to replace Robert Lewandowski. No, almost 95 million euros. Who can add those things in Abuma and then look fan if Manchester City. So that should be Barcelona's priority right now, and not necessarily Nico. But I'm a game pa. Habasa. Chelsea game no me wanema 4 me observe and person me no wodi hu komo kakra me won line up no Chelsea line up no na me disappointed kakra because say Romeo Lavia nye fit. Moises Caicedo ye on available. I was expecting Andrew Santos to play. Line up now by now regimes the nation. As I say, and regimes a pulley up or warm up. Say yes, sir, and Andrew Santos no more money more boni. So regimes when pulley up and I said now since now got Dario Sugu and Andrew Santos. King 2 years in here. And now Marca Santos as some sabono ni boni bo, ma Chelsea ma boy in go, no qua Chelsea benunu. Oh, performance. Whoever watched the game, I am not saying say he's there, but obi ohwe ball ni bibia, obi ni wa ofe Moises Caicedo wonfinfin. Because I kept on saying say, why do you have a solid defensive midfielder? Wa ball Brazil Argentina Vasco ho. Wa ba Europe. What do you call Strasbourg? She ball the French league. Now about Chelsea give him opportunity now connect the bench. Now Chelsea bought James right back as a defensive midfielder. I did not understand it. Now sometimes you take advantage of situations. And then I made the pass say James when bra in Kaye Andrew Santos. And now the guy played very well. We did not miss Moises Caicedo. And now he was solid on the Enzo Fernandez partnership. Point number 2. Leandro Lapono. Ken. It is too early, but I think it's a baby okay kakono. Onwanga sa invite pressure the man. Okay? Ada Chelsea for job out Nicholas Jackson Barca. Unnecessary yellow cards. One of those things are Chelsea failed to tame Nicholas Jackson as a sebedroom Pempensobia striker Eddie red cards mono. ASR or starting unnecessary yellow cards. Leandro Lap onyam peke in form. Obaye just one goal and another shot against Experience. But say we did 2 yellow cards, but one goal pe. Bona ho bono onyam. You see, I want to pardon him because says the young call baby no problem. But the unnecessary yellow cards, they say Chelsea next game on Bono, he's been suspended. And now boy me who said Joao Pedro airborne. Ken, Dila Poma Joao Pedro Jin number 9 no na so be yes because Pedro no otimi bo position biao. And now buy no as if he has been training with Chelsea for 1 month. He was okay. And a Joao Pedro Nankasa born than an annual. Only born a botany, you would Leandila. And see, I said, he's gradually inviting pressure at the banners, which is unnecessary. Point number 3. Referee the 4 minutes and a torso. It was 2-1. Ken, and now manage Chelsea the last 4 minutes at your year. You game no, not this be whole about game in the movie. Na Nkuku Efrim Joao Pedro abeshimti the front 4 for Chelsea ebe game no Disbury Hall Kopama Noni Madueke and Joao Pedro 2-1 pressure Palmeiras funded the pressure ma Chelsea ideally one year we team okwa kogu echiru anamebo ye be pon game you need to defend your goal. Chelsea decided to press them the last 4 minutes. I loved that. But 90+2 Nkofoni feel say Chelsea be quite shame on the pressure to Chelsea. So Chelsea front 4 no they were on Nkofoni they were pressing them and then man this brawl far ball or G-ball no na ball be di Kopama to Joao Pedro to Noni Madueke and the Noni Madueke boya whoever's yes I'll save you know. It is the same press within the last 4 minutes. And I'm Joao Pedro any chance or bonso so boya whoever's in savior. So the last 4 minutes, instead of Chelsea sitting deep and inviting pressure on themselves, Chelsea decided to press. I love that. A solid decision because Palmeiras did not expect it to do Pempe so they were too confused. Last point in say.
Okay.
It is quite obvious to say role of Noni Madueke will keep on diminishing every single day. Because they say, and now we say, Obo Nkunku ahead of Madueke. And now whoever saw Julian Extravao, no, I bet Chelsea would want to move on. na wakofa extravagant ba or probably Kudus because now and someone coach in the can for Kudus who wanna me one ba Mariska. I did not expect that statement from him, but for him to say I know Muhammad Kudus from my ass. Master, nature said Chelsea were proper interest in the Muhammad Kudus. It looks like Noni Madueke no born like a he will probably leave. So kwa either Kudus Ebebo na still no more introduce you extra value, but from yesterday's game I don't see Madueke continuing. Ken Thomas Partey asam na mamenka kekrebi Samson fanka ho say what we should start praying for and he say email na investigator na dey tool emma obafoforo bia entwere nko.
Okay.
Because Benjamin Mendy no started with Mamiensa. Mamiensa no na ye 4 count people. Thomas Partey I started with Mamiensa. The count na 5. But what I say?
Okay. So
initial report no Thomas Partey dey no cry a dangerous change Benjamin Mendy dey. Per the counts because Partey 5 counts plus 1 sexual assault. Benjamin Mendy dey was initial one no it was just 3. I said it be count. Okay. First of all, what we should pray for and say, am I now sorry me Samson to say or before for sounds way in it.
But Met Police I didn't mama beam said or baby bra.
And then they didn't until I say
I don't police for my tires.
Oh yeah, Benjamin Mendy only now we are beam.
Beam so
because I don't feel say obi wo ha osuro. Now they are assuring you say they will protect your identity. Come. Because all the cases I have followed in nyina no ayana de man ye dangerous no say asam no kransa na ye ba be kana na ma foforo be braid omo de asanso aba na akwa kopem say ebia ye be ko first court na de what we should start praying for is mo bi amfa na de foforo sanso nko
a man baby be happy
and it makes it very very difficult to apprehend because in 10 year be here. As I say, there toss to be also we names for Mr. And yes, abrofo man kwan it is say normally when we have this kind of issue, the first thing is that footballers they should be very careful about abrofo man bebre na you. Samson bebre na so enye. Sa na ya ye kromufu bebre na so enye. It is not a matter of race, a matter of character. Because I've seen white ladies, omo boa ko bibini abefa na ebusuan fo nyina kwa
ama ko bibini so mafia
ama ko bibini mafia oba no ama utim se broni pa exactly bebre na oba be for mu free akọ onya krata na no eja no. So there are good white ladies there. Very, very good. I don't want to say. Oh, say Ghana for the year. Issue be say by I know race abrofo and we be binti and a post for the year. Say Ronaldo on ye bibini. And so he went through this process. There have been white guys who've gone through this. And attack issues from the race pointer. Okay. We'll always get it wrong because the problem is the character. We are Bema. Bompire say or Babia when be sign your bear or your bapa. That is the most important thing. And your coco and your tuntum and your fita. As a sour bompire so Babia sound in the chimpino, sound in the warrior. As a say your bapa. As some in it, I don't know.
Well, any of those and no. Biggie, but you won't say you know Portugal, but you won't images be. Say no, he love how much. You won't one image I can say Ruby never saba.
Wow, what cause is here?
Or maybe do Portugal. Mamma saw picture image and I'm in videos.
No mususa.
But so born and run a job. No, now we run and you run now much about to Portugal, none of idea.
Wow.
What's the never say? Send a damn for
and musu yo. And I can sell a crab born and you still the one attack.
We saw show for me and say, Biggie, we was side images in the bio, but once Liverpool for us to players. Once say a fin a year pan, you be my movie, so baby, and run a year, sorry for no. Into way a Liverpool, Van Dijk, and a lady Liverpool contingent. anopai won say anopai dey obi a suit one ball and so ball black into team Liverpool that we Nunes the first person who do one real one no was say the team no into Liverpool for the day
try sound no Santin to for no woman na Santin ya ebe
Santin ya ebe
Liverpool for mo ye
Santin ya ebe for
we Liverpool
announced
before the players and we go pay more Darwin Nunes and so
you know we
go Jota yes yes now omakwa and so
among some boys say
and they just later you play
and that's Saturday the Santin ya ebe Liverpool for and eba munuya makope common and decision sabi asem at home okay well interested Ruben Neves the na America the man say Ruben Dias is with Manchester City ono so the craft flower ono so economy international teammate but my pictures no and I mean
Joao Felix
where Joao Felix
yeah
some of different picture I mean where will be a black not just something we or non would jam my Chelsea ana we Bruno Fernandes and Danilo ni yenya ba kwa Ruben Neves na jawo anya ayini
Renato Viega
na one ekoi
so Cancelo
one Cancelo just say Cancelo and Ruben Neves omo from America aba be do ayina se no no bobo e wo ho enti je tie no ti ya de na wi sa boni we nyina
my Liverpool for na baso Bruni or Casabio say a nation that doesn't honor its heroes isn't worth dying for.
Hey, are you so into so
Samedo
Nelson Samedo no hey bigi Samedo ina Samedo afana so na de pa the krumpa
ti ade bia Liverpool bia no yie e no mo ye but whatever you are doing now or send the signal to the outside world. Any players are or more outside that potentially and not possibly. Almost bet me join Liverpool Bobo no say o do home be Liverpool na nya me mfasa ma bibi toa enya dia Liverpool be jawo jeje mu until I feel say Liverpool is doing everything humanly possible said the be ya mo be kro mu nua na chi na afeyin so abusua no so atimi aye stable because the name mo ye dia ma family no I was so to the extent say captain Van Dijk into so volunteer say Obe make sure to be taking care of the family going forward. It is something good. It's a step in the right direction. Liverpool for now, so they have done very, very well. Ken, Manchester United players now. Manchester United person or Tono. United is in a position now. Only option say Omobeton players and sana there are other transfers. Manchester United Bobo Koneti transfers. But when you get to this stage, it depends on how I'll be selling players into the outside world. And at the kind of money I'll be attracted and so beba. But just to say players we are more Manchester United in here almost services. Not necessarily they are that bad. But in football even if a player is so bad or you're bad for whole club no any whole system. But there are other teams almost be ready to member players an opportunity no matter see a kind of Real Madrid in Como Bebre cost surrounding Rodrigo. I highly possible say Rodrigo be me for Real Madrid. But if you look at the Rodrigo Real Madrid situation, Kwamo Faso any player in a deal no. Madrid the man won say mekanche o say oton. O mekanche o say o transfer list player no. Enti se sia say o kosa o pe Rodrigo a. E bo a Real Madrid de pe. E no bebo. E mfa wo say player na e bia na o hia no. Enti obetimi akọ. Wo hwe situation na wo de wadwene. Ebusa akwada ni nya Real Madrid obefiri wonti ma menko na menko nkofa no. Na Madrid a price akwada no. Na wanya sika papa bi. E de afiri akwada ni bi omu. Chelsea ni no ni Madrid it is clear. Say no ni Madrid offer ban ne. Na say offer ni very good ah. Chelsea be ton apprentice na manako. But Chelsea in transfer list no. Chelsea in country obi aso on peno ni Madrid e do be so ton man ko there bi. It is a wo Chelsea say wo kwa peno ni Madrid ah. Enya bo bi a wo pe na wo be kwa Chelsea boboko na so ye. Say wo kwa pe apprentice friend say no ni Madrid no. These are things Manchester United should learn. You time when Chelsea boboko ni here Romelu Lukaku. They found a way to sell the players. Said they be obenya sika and so dey free. Manchester United a creative portfolio amobi. You see a friendly chief negotiating officer, Matt Hargreaves. But I mean, you are the negotiating Manchester United. and on to one Manchester United the don't players can have a problem. The Omoba also a Dibuomo. One I wouldn't this canal be to player. One sounds to mean Tom dear Kakrani, but what comes one year sounds for the boo. And this is Manchester United in common. At the entire silence on why they have to sell off players to make enough money to do recruitment. And not just what's a problem when you have a chief negotiating officer. See, this is the situation of Manchester United. Someone who can be fast wire now said to us to say, yeah, they be a Kankwa and a break club. Ken, moving on. Kamaldeen Sulemana finally, Walando Atlanta Bobo Kolim. Kamaldeen qualities has never been in doubt. Obin to me convince me Ametia. Say Kamaldeen Sulemana a good player. He's a good player. Oh, a lot of qualities. Open the football, a typical winger. Ultimate money Kamaldeen from film. The pace was a winger here. Our flank and that's what the Bayer Juma. Kamaldeen Sulemana will be. He's a very good dribbler. The problem is to do goal post anymore. Come be fast the ball now to me to your problem. But there have been a lot of times I young players are. And no matter how more carry but they force themselves to adjust to new situations and making sure say on be polish on no bobo na near masesa. Timu Kruya, there have been players on my come near masesa dia ma. They be American about the Mola Lukman. He wasn't a bad player in England. But in England, numbers of the man Atlanta is I don't even very more. Okoye near Masasa. We've seen Atlanta Bobo Kuna. A lot of the players from Atlanta is here. It was after they joined the club and we are saying Babette Omonka and Upejabe big players. Matteo Rotegi is a typical example. Nobody knew him in the Italian Serie A. Don't know Bobby. But moving to Atlanta. Oma ye player no more Jumama in there. Season year in Italy. On an top scorer. Italian Serie A. If you go such a team, Muna Neman Konkan from Mawa. We are rest assured, say, never be betting me as a based on the club you are joining. We are only few one man. There are certain players who form to me conform. But Rusia coach be not coaching and a Didio anymore. Whenever the coach moves, of a player and the neck on or in the Quaniamas and Sunday Mamo. Carlo Ancelotti and the James Rodriguez situation sanity. No matter how much Rodriguez former with him or whom say young poor. Carlo Ancelotti make him move no frabant and say bra. Never become one. Play any movie call on pet. No, transform play mama near Master based on the kind of trust I went with him. It's a Duma Kakrabina Ivan Jurek. Any Kamaldeen Sulemana, a year was Adamson Bobo Kunino. Well, who the kind of quality a player they possess it. And I all funding about Babacano. So I am hoping send Yama betting Yasa, and Yama player friend is a Kamaldeen Sulemana. Now I stay fit 100%. Injuries in Biblia memoir. I am sure the player never got back to the best of form. But then again, Ivan Jurek as a coach and to performance can be questionable. The last two Juma Waye, Roma and Koye. Oba Saddam said the name Yakra. Saddam to about 16 matches. 16 matches no boy, or Lucy Makoma 13. Or we need 2. League Barco, F Cup match Barco, and or draw Barco. If the coach in the performance and any idea of any GDB, players that my bomb with you Atlanta, say a transform me or and your coach a friend said Giampiero Gasperani in the years Jumano. He's left to AS Roma. So I am hoping, say, Ivan Jurek this time around, and you never conquer the man because you never conquer man. Not what's team Nimucha. Or no, they come out in Suleiman buy, and no man that opportunity. One, you're fortunate. Now, your man conquer no free ball. Then you coach Bana on Pell style of player. Now, face will also Baba Betiakem and so on. I am going to hope, say, coach and Yama better Sadiaman this time around. No one here good stay and so on. King on the Club World Cup. And what Chelsea born, I'm sharing. I was looking at certain players. William Estevallo is a typical example of that players and I'm sharing. What ball Brazil? What Judin? Among for whom? Or Brazil? Club World Cup and Anka Sampo Bahino. Or performance has been good. There's that word attention on you. But such Chelsea supporters better. Or who are many team match grandpa on her. It's a lot of the Chelsea supporters, I am sure. So even though at the Club World Cup no more no, been pano munya brantiano. It is only your opportunity now. Baby, share Chelsea Bobo Kunwa. The assessor will bring you a game on board. None of them kind and so the amount. And now that was exactly what the player did. Especially go no topping it up with that kind of performance. And so on. He's a left-footed player. It's most of the time, however, such a player. Watch a ball, not angle, not your title. Let me call you who had a very good game yesterday. And now, baby, European Branty and Coco share. May assure Sana Levico, I've been here, they said. A Branty left footed in the angle now, closing to so much. there is no way so bet me about our ball with the right foot and the other goal post anymore. But as the value a surprise you be with that close or tight angle. No chance within the weaker foot, a boss our ball in the share, you know. He has sold himself to the Chelsea supporters and then the world. So ball now our boy now so much Chelsea go fan about not just by fluke. But we'll prove it in that game so and branch and so a boy. Who you are not so free one more. Kopama Ken after more than a month, Kopama Timinya go the match Chelsea Bobo. And it is something good for the player. They be a make of football, the more you play better. And our confidence and then so bad. To Kopama na young no. Do a toda no, but the numbers in ma now more performance na be all assist in the kakaba. But goals in na emma. And this year and Kasan Kopama goals are some way. Because Ken, the last goal was shedding match Chelsea before no goal no was on the 4th of May. And I branch in go the match Chelsea. Before that, not the last goal I was on 4th May game no. I was go for Chelsea. It was in January. It's assisted the third hour maybe. But goals in Ankasa, Ababa be a problem kaka. And so the Ama branch no. It will a player now go in such a situation. Now if you book game now goes to the chance yes I am sure you are going to be happy. And every Chelsea supporter be and so be happy. And so the Ama player no. I a friend say I a co-palmer. And so I was very happy with the performance of Dynedy, especially all topping it up with a goal. And so the Ama Chelsea ball no. Real Madrid ball a Borussia Dortmund the net. Obe expected. So be more a typical Real Madrid performance. At the start of the Club World Cup, now coach Xabi Alonso's performance akwa ye bibie wo hono no. Gradually, unsa ade na o che no coach ne nsa no e Real Madrid team ne so. Fortunately for him, okwa coach here team onimomo very well. I am saying very well because he's been playing with Borussia Dortmund and so Bundesliga anymore. It's onimomo play setting up the team to be able to beat them and share that problem baby and some from Malmo. The 3 defensive men on the body of Real Madrid now so more cautious. There are players in the Borussia Dortmund team clearly almost said that kind of performance on my Dynedy in the just ended season, Champions League especially, and by fluke. Player American on one has been saying Girassi. In this particular tournament, the player's performance hasn't been bad. Oh, per attacker, when you a lot of attempts at goal, a player friend says Girassi. 17 attempts at goal. It's clearly the air chain said he's one player who tries a lot when he gets to the goal line area. It will a Real Madrid defender. Such a player, you so you are doing it anywhere and so the free. So Kylian Mbappe is fit now. But I don't expect a coach never start Kylian Mbappe. Ken Mbappe me sure say with the matches remaining in the Club World Cup. Obebo we are sibo in our manage Ballon d'Or. The kind of rise that player friends Gonzalo Garcia. Gonzalo Garcia, Enyano. And this is Okate Sadiano. He's a young player. Obi one mentally or tough. Obencheno. Now the Kylian Mbappe boy. Anytime will be an opportunity to still obey me about. But we are looking at the performance of what Daniel Real Madrid or Club World Cup anymore. Who go uniform na Kylian Mbappe bar. A bit me identity up with spirit. And he hasn't been bad. And Kylian Mbappe we are talking about Ken. Who free injury bar. Me not sure why 100% fit. Maybe a few minutes to bet me about no change, It's the identity now man started from the bench rather. That's a few minutes to bet here on Fanning because the open in place of him and so prove it. And I believe that Real Madrid, no matter how difficult it is going to be, I feel they have to get to this particular win at the expense of Borussia Dortmund with no disrespect. Madrid performance, our Club World Cup keeps rising. Clearly, almost at the end of coaching the players and APK.